Hi everyone, Gianni DePocia here with you for TheoTrade, and today is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, and we are seeing stocks up once again. Not really a surprise if you're following the trend that's been in effect since late April. The tide really started to turn after the secondary higher low on the 21st of April, and ever since we took out that high from the 25th of March, we've been singing a much more bullish tune. Now, even before that, we were cautiously optimistic because of what was happening in the tech space. Technology continues to dominate this market over the past month. You can see the tech sector, XLK, up over 1% on the day. This is leading to the Nasdaq outperforming the S&P to the upside today, which is exactly what you want to see in this market, especially if you're a bull. But the story doesn't stop there because we're seeing even more leadership come from the semiconductor sector, which, again, I repeat, is absolutely critical to the health of technology, which makes up around 30% of the S&P 500. There's a reason why we've been talking about the great tech reset and all of the components that go into it. Institutions are chasing this move. They are underweight, not just technology, but semiconductors, and they're forced to play catch up. In fact, today in the live chat room, we were able to book 23% profits on Broadcom, which hit a new all-time high. Our target was 250. That upside target was achieved, but I do have my eyes set on Nvidia here, which is within spitting distance of its all-time highs. If Nvidia can get back above 150, I do see a pathway for this stock back to the 230 area. So we have to ask ourselves this question. What do we start doing if these mega cap tech names like Nvidia run up 80 bucks, or what would that be, around 50% from current price levels? It probably would be very bullish for the overall market and lead to significantly higher all-time highs in the indices. So that's how I'm positioning right now. We also have a position over in American superconductors. So chip names providing no shortages of opportunities. And within other parts of the Mag 7, I really like what's happening in Microsoft. I'm sticking with my upside target of 560. But I think in the bigger picture of things, we need to be aware of still what's happening in bonds. I'm not closing the door on the probability or the possibility of a bottom being complete, but someone's going to have to pay the price for this market to go higher. And I'm looking square at the US dollar, which is seeing a bit of a rebound today. While the media wants to distract you with all of the tariff stuff, the real action on the trade front is taking place in the currency market. This is what a lot of the commentary is missing. So this is why I'm calling it the everything rally. But it's going to come off the back of the US dollar, which is basically the sacrificial lamb. I mean, we are not far away from a potential $20 breakdown in the dollar yen. We are not far away from the euro rallying another, 8 to 10 cents higher up to the 120 area. So if that happens, and it's going to make the US economy a lot less competitive for imports, more competitive for exports. And I know that's a big part of the discussion that Scott Bessent and Trump are trying to have on the trade front. I'm not saying it's going to be necessarily successful, but I would like to remind you that Bessent was involved with Soros in the 90s in breaking the British pound. So the guy knows his stuff. The guy knows his stuff. Whether or not you agree with what they're trying to do politically, you have to admit that Bessent understands the currency market. So where bonds fit in this picture, a lot of times people think, oh, if the dollar sells off, bonds are gonna drop. Well, if we view this as a form of a soft default on the US debt, basically devaluing the dollar by 20%, you're basically devaluing the debt by 20% as well, because you're going to be looking to pay it back with cheaper dollars. So something to keep back in the back of your mind. I think if bonds carve out a bottom here, it's going to be really bullish for the tech space. We see our position in Netflix getting very close to its upside target of 1260. We also got pretty close to booking profits earlier today in App 11, which we had a target of 410 on that. So let's see if we can get that going into the close. If not today, then tomorrow perhaps. Tesla looking strong, coming up off a higher low. We did get a little bit of volatility creep back into the market here over the last few minutes after a report surfaced that Trump was going to be doubling the steel tariffs, but that's a pretty small part of the economy at this point. And I think the bigger story is, again, on the tech front. Google and Amazon, I'm watching these names in the Mag 7 space for potential breakouts higher. But, again, the big story is what's happening in semiconductors. Precious metals started off the week on a very strong note. Silver coming within a spitting distance of its multi-year high. I still like the idea of a blow-off top unfolding in precious metals over the next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, with silver leading the way. I don't know if gold's going to make a new high here. It looks like it wants to, but I would actually be betting more on silver to make a new high. We do have a couple of positions open in the chat room in Barrett Gold and in Pan American Silver. But after a strong Monday, they haven't really followed through to the upside here on Tuesday. That's a big reason why I'm not a fan of chasing moves on Mondays. I hate getting stopped out on Monday because it seems like the probability of those stops being just whipsaws are higher. But I don't mind capturing profits at any point, really, is what it comes down to. So let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum up on the day. Ethereum, the latter, is up even more, consolidating its gains very nicely. Let me just tell you one thing. If and when Ethereum clears 2,800, there's not much left stopping it from getting it back to 41, 4,200. So I like what's happening in Ethereum. Bigger picture, I still think this can go to $7,000, $8,000. There was a Trump release about, Trump wallet, Trump coin, all this stuff. I'm not even necessarily too worried about that. I'm more worried about the price action. We do talk about various cryptocurrencies during our weekly crypto hour here at TheoTrade on Thursdays. So if you want to learn more about how we are approaching the crypto sector, that's the time to come check it out. But I think we're going to see some very speculative things occur. I think we're going to see, let's call it horrors beyond our imagination unfolding in the crypto space. On the bullish side of the market, I think we're going to see it become irresponsibly bullish, a full-blown mania. And a lot of people are going to make some money at first, but most of them, unfortunately, will not keep it. Such is the nature of bubbles. So if you know how to manage risk and you know how to approach the market properly, bubbles are the best place to make money. I'm also watching, been talking about this pocket-sized power theme, names like Oklo, SMR, NewScale. I still like those names. I think they need a little bit more time to chop around. Quantum names still holding up pretty good. Our position in Palantir hit a new all-time high yesterday. That is bullish price action. So I like what's going on there. And you're also seeing some crypto names like MicroStrategy, which is a Trinity trade name, along with Core Scientific, another Trinity trade name, starting to complete higher lows and break above key technical resistance zones. So we're looking for much higher prices on that front. Do want to take a look at crude oil here because I'm watching this very closely with respect to the resistance zone of 65, 68. I can't be a bull on crude oil as long as we are below 65, 68. And, I don't think that really poses any threats for inflation at the moment, but I think what bonds need is for crude oil prices to break down. And if we do see that happen, it's going to force the Fed to move. So Powell didn't really say much at his press conference yesterday. He was slated to speak. I didn't really say all that much, but we do have some important jobs data on Friday that I think if it shows any signs of weakness, we know the threat that AI poses to certain professions. But any weakness in the job report, I think we'll see bonds catch a really strong bid because from a cyclical standpoint, we do have the setup for a low to be complete. So that's basically what I'm approaching in this market. I'm looking for semiconductors and chips and technology to continue outperforming as we've been discussing in the Great Tech Reset. But if you're looking for some shorter term opportunities, even zero DTE, Don DTE is what we're going to be presenting here this week at TheoTrade. Don Kaufman going to be taking you through some zero DTE option strategies here soon. So check it out. I don't think you want to miss it. I know in this market with a lot of intraday volatility, a good way to capitalize on some short-term moves, especially with the taco tweets and the tariff tantrums like we've experienced over the last couple of months. So that's what I got for now. I think it's a dip buying environment, and I think we're going to see new all-time highs before we know it. So I'll keep you posted. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. See you in the Theo Trade chat room.